Hi, everybody. Welcome to the worst level in Hollow Knight.
Hi.
So, I forget where it shows it, but somebody mentions that, like, the original source of Hallownest Castle just up and disappeared. So, let's explore the memory of the Hallownest Castle.
The memory.
Yeah, notice how to get here we psychic knifed the corpse of a guard?
So we're in his dead dream, maybe?
Yep. Welcome to the White Palace. From
That'd be white.
From a story perspective, this area is kinda cool. It's a neat foray into like the history of Hallownest and everything, and like the psychology of the people. From a gameplay perspective, it betrays everything we learned so far. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna be seeing some Super Meat Boy shit.
Oh no.
And oddly enough...
Oh, I see why you're doing that. Since they don't die, you can just build up that cage real quick.
Mm-hmm. Now, you were talking before about the creation theory, and I'm going to tell you right now that not all of the bugs of Hallownest were born of the Abyss, but the White King certainly started using the Abyss to his own ends. The guard was a creation of the Abyss, because when we beat him in, like, the dream, his body dissolved into, like, black goo, much like the Collector. And those wing mold guys that I was beating up, they're made from Abyss.
Suppose that makes sense.
And yeah, there's gonna be a lot of platforming in this level. Whoops.
Oh, that's nice. Foreground blocking.
Yeah, don't worry, I got it, it's fine. Now, if you take a look at that, that's the elevator to the next area, but it's blocked by a door with an orb. We have to hit a determined number of switches based on how many orbs are on a door. Now I gotta admit, for a level that's just monochromatic effectively, it does have a lot of depth and, oddly enough, warmth to it.
Why is your health orange, by the way?
That is an effect we got from the Hive. This is Hive Blood. If you notice, one of our orbs is regenerating.
Oh yeah.
So long as we don't take any damage, we get that health back gratis. However, the guards of White Palace do 2 damage, so I would only get 1 back.
Is that worth it?
Typically no. You'd be better off using, say, something like Quick Heal or just, you know, healing properly. But in this level, Hive Blood will save you so much of a fucking headache. Also, the architecture of this place is kind of weird for being the Palace of the King.
Did the king break its leg again? Of course he did.
Dude's gotta
Palace sucks.
He's gotta stop going on the roof. We haven't completed it yet. Ah. Now we gotta move the PlayStation to his bed.
Ugh.
You know how hard
You know how short those controller cables are.
I don't mind if a controller cables. Try moving a CRT these days.
I think that's what killed most of the kingdom to begin with.
Moving a giant CRT. They're not Pikmin. Now the bullshit starts.
I love the elevator is there to welcome to the spike room.
Yeah, I like to talk about verisimilitude basically because I like to watch a guy. I forget his name offhand. Matt Colville. He talks a lot about D&D and how
Yeah.
and storytelling stuff, and a word he likes to use is verisimilitude, and that's basically the idea of being absorbed in the world and losing your suspension of disbelief and just absorbing the thing. That breaks here, because how the fuck is this a royal castle? Now the thing about these guys is, because we possess the King's brand, the civilians in this soldier's dream perceive us as the king.
Can you enter this place without that?
Nope. Because in order to get appropriate setup, I believe you need the King's Brand to access the dodge. So, there was a speedrun of this game that used a lot of lame strats to avoid the awful parts of this level. And after that speedrun came out, the developers actively removed all those strats. Which in my opinion has some merit. You don't want people laming out your game as general knowledge. But I would love to get away from this.
I guess that's one thing that you have to... I can't tell if that's against a developer point or against speedrunner point. That they're constantly trying to find ways to break game immersion by finding ways around stuff that's not intended by the game developer.
I would say that's more the fault of speedruns, because some of the strats are unintended, like little hooks in the geography that you could exploit to cut out like a whole chunk of the game. But also there was like playtesting stuff that they just didn't remove but speedrunners found, which I will discuss later. So this is about the point where editing is going to start coming in. And this is why you get the Hive Blood before doing the White Palace.
Oh.
Because you're gonna...
this still does 1 damage.
Yeah. And you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. And there's nothing to get soul from here. So why get soul to heal when you could just regenerate it with honey? Now another thing
Is that insinuating that absorbing soul really wasn't a thing back then, or is that just a way of making this more difficult?
It's a way of making this more difficult. This is entirely a gameplay test. Like, this is a litmus test to see if you know the game intrinsically.
Is this, you have to go through this, or is this side path?
This is true ending path.
Oh.
Now, amusingly enough, they showed this level off as, like, the primary thing to advertise in the trailer, and I hate to say it, I bought it because I saw this in the trailer. I did not realize how miserable this level would be. Because the big thing about this is that this is a level that uses entirely Meat Boy or I want to be the guy mentalities of very tight platforming in a very strict environment. But throughout all of Hollow Knight, we haven't done that. The whole game has been more focused on exploration, discovering the story of the world, and having really good combat. So having precise action platforming in a game where it never trained you for precise platforming is bad game design.
It's also the inconsistency of going, what was the purpose of this?
Yeah, I mentioned it before. This breaks verisimilitude over its knee. Why would the king have to go through a hallway of buzzsaws to go to his throne room? Also, you can't shadow dash past that. That pissed me off.
Lisa seems to be pretty flexible with its where you respawn sort of mechanics.
Yeah, they're very generous with the respawns. Yeah. That's the only thing they're generous with, because this is the only way you get soul in this area. At very specific points, you'll get statues that refill your soul in its entirety, but when you're learning the game, boy, are you gonna make a lot of fucking mistakes. Now, this video is nearly 40 minutes mainly because I include another thing after this. The raw data for this area alone is an hour.
Ugh.
And you can't practice this either. Like, to practice this, you have to go through the entire game again, like I did. I don't like the White Palace.
For whatever reason, I just have this ridiculous image of one of the butlers walking up to the king. He's like, "Would you like to go to the saw room today, sir?" Oh, not today.
Sorry,
I'm thinking more of the acid burnt searing gas pain room.
You say that.
The unnecessary surgery room.
Now, this area is also kind of misleading because the second path is a little hard to find, honestly. Damn it.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Also,
some of that seems pretty cheap.
Yeah. I think someone on the dev team just really wanted a Meat Boy level to show off to like cater to some of the more eclectic gamers out there. I really don't like this.
I would say Meat Boy / Rayman Legends.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because there were levels that were specifically designed to be like, you have to memorize every inch of it.
Rayman Legends was pretty fun though, I enjoyed that game.
Yeah. Well, because again, we knew the world was going to be that way, so every level matched that kind of idea. Yeah. There wasn't any kind of story indication of it. It was just, hey, this is just good, fun platforming. Frustrating sometimes, but nonetheless.
Yeah, this is a leap in expected skill ceiling, and I don't like it. That's gonna be my commentary for the next few minutes. And I think this is actually this is the second time I've done this level. Because for my Steel Soul run, I didn't go for the true ending. I could think of several places where I die.
The only thing I say about this part is I feel like, the king was a little paranoid.
Yeah, that's one of the main traits that you learn about through the things you cash in on a Relic Seeker Lem. The king was worshipped as a deity, but was also really fucking paranoid. Another thing I
like the pauses where you can't insinuate how many times you actually had to try.
Yeah. This was a bitch to edit.
Ooh, that was a tough one.
Yeah, this one's really hard, and there's going to be one in the future that will contribute to half of the time of the raw video. Now, I have a funny story about this particular area. This is actually a split path. You could go up or down from here. Go down. It's way easier. Now, when I was first playing this, I did not know that. I thought I had to loop around. So I had to go backwards, specifically from here, back up in what I thought was the intended route, only to realize I was looping again. That was miserable. I did it. Like, the game, like, it's obvious in the level design that you cannot do that, but I somehow managed to do it, and when I finally realized that it was a loop, I was furious. I had to put this game...
I mean, some people enjoy doing this. I don't know who they are, but...
Yeah.
The people who like playing Super Meat Boy, I guess. But at least that one had speed to it.
Yeah, and it was... And you knew going in what the game was. I feel like just pulling this out of your hat out of nowhere is kind of just a cock move.
Cockamamie, if you will.
Now this part of the level design is really weird. Because you could do a lot of things to get around here, and there's going to be one point in the level design where I have to actively damage boost to continue. This isn't it, but hey, I got it to work, I guess.
Whatever's easiest, I think.
Now luckily, and I mean luckily, they give you a full heal here, because you need it. Now I believe starting in this area, there were 3 hallways that were hidden behind destructible walls that playtesters would use to just go through this level. Which to me says the playtesters didn't beat this fucking level as intended. Granted, from what I've heard about playtesting, you don't playtest to criticize level design and the like, because who the fuck cares about playtesters' mentality of how the game should be played? You're supposed to look for glitches, and to wit, I could see why they implemented those shortcuts. But man, did the developers of this game not play this and think, wow, this is fucking miserable compared to the rest of the game?
You know, I think I figured out the lore implication of this place.
What's that?
So we know that the worm got reincarnated into the king, so something smaller. So I imagine that the worm itself threw itself through this castle and got chopped into tiny pieces, and the living remaining piece became the king.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I mean, they never explained how it got reincarnated, so we're just like, oh well, this is gonna suck. Ah! And popped out the other end as a small insect.
I was so ready to say, yeah, that's bullshit, but I think I'll take that. I'll take that at face value, because fuck.
That's fair.
Who can live through all this? This sucks.
Not even the ancient worm. God, those are too fast.
Yeah, which becomes a pressing point later. Like, when I was editing this episode, I was like, should I put a repeat counter? And then I thought better. No.
I'm just watching this thinking, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Because it seems like a lot of these you're just getting by luck.
Yeah, kinda. Now here's
there's skill there for sure, but a lot of them are just like, oh, well, you just kinda did it.
So what I'm demonstrating here is that there was a glitch in the speedrunner community when this first came out that you could just do the dash attack and forego this entire level. Naturally, that was patched out because that's an unintended design, but part of me was still wishing. Because look,
see, where was this game made exactly? In America?
Australia.
So there's like, right, we want people to suffer at this point just as much as we suffered in development.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, you were mentioning that a lot of this is coming down to luck. A while ago, I had to do a hairline thread through buzzsaws to go to an area, and there's a speed trap at the end of it.
Nice.
So this is just so many mean designs. By the way, here's the kicker. You're gonna love this. This is one of the areas where I really wish the shortcut was still there. Because there is some damn timing to this.
It's spotting the gaps, and you have to do it exactly at the right time.
That took me 8 minutes. Here's another speed trap. If you had just dropped down, you'd be stabbed and then you'd have to go back.
How far back?
Just after the spear hallway, so it's not too bad, but...
Oh, that's good.
Man, I really wish both A, the shortcut was still there, and B, the glitch with dash attack was still there. Because that part of the level really sucks.
I like this idea where it's like, oh, and pretty you walked by and went, go fuck yourself, guys.
Yeah. How did I not get killed there?
So we maintain the castle exactly as you desired. Oh, go fuck yourself.
King, I think you're insane.
I haven't been able to see my family in months because I can't leave the spot where I'm at.
Did you bring the Twinkies, sir? I'm starving.
He never brings the Twinkies. When he does, he sucks all the cream out to make sure they're hollow. I don't know why he's so obsessed with hollow things.
I'm like, wow, the king's a villain. Who sucks the cream out of a Twinkie? That's, like, Boku no Hero Academia has been very popular, and I don't follow the trend as much, but there's a meme out there where it has All Might saying that's villainy. That's
only
fucking...
villains do that.
Yeah, only villains suck the cream out of Twinkies. Here's the damage boost that you have to do to progress. So if you go through this whole area without Hive Blood and have 1 life left, you die there and have to go all the way back to the one bench we were at 15 minutes ago?
Ugh.
Yeah. Get Hive Blood before doing this, folks. But hey, we're done.
We done? We out? We out? We out?
We out, we out, we out. No more fucking bullshit platforming. And we could finally see the king.
I hope you're ready, motherfucker. I got a lot of questions for you. One, your kingdom actually sucks. That's just more of a statement.
That's not a question, though.
No question about it.
There was an elevator there. I don't know why I didn't take it.
Because you still wanted to platform so badly.
So at the end of it all, here's the king.
Hey. Guess he didn't make it through his platforming either.
Good insinuation, because, well, we're gonna learn in a hot minute.
No cost too great. Ellipses means he's like, well...
King's dead.
Very dead. King soul. Now you're the real king. Now you have the soul of the worm.
Mm-hmm.
How long has the king been dead?
We don't know.
Soul of worm, soul of root, soul of void.
Now, the interesting thing is that is a trinket that counts towards completion for the trinket lady.
Oh.
Now, the other interesting thing is, if you get this soul, congratulations, you have a trinket that gives you infinite soul.
Oh.
Here's the kick in the balls. It's 5 trinket slots, and if you want to 100% the game, you have to forfeit it.
I mean, to be fair, by this point, I imagine you're doing fine.
Yeah. But there is comments and the thread are probably gonna have to elaborate on this, but there is a way to learn what to do next, because this is kind of, in my opinion, the weird and like the end bit to La Mulana, where it's so convoluted that how would you not know this without a guide? But there is a way to figure out what to do next. I don't know it off the top of my head because this LP is kind of fucking long. But, yeah, we still have one more thing to do before we, can unlock the true ending.
You know what this insinuates?
What's that?
That the souls themselves are essence of the worm. Which brings more to the point of the progenitus of him creating insects, because killing them gives you souls.
Yeah? Now to get to the next part, we have to go to the Abyss, because the badge says opens the way to a birthplace.
Of whom?
That's a good question.
Sounds spooky down here.
Yeah, once you get the King's Soul, this opens up. This is fucking terrifying.
Look at all those bodies. I think the floors and the walls are made of bodies too.
Those aren't bodies. Those are masks for the denizens of the Abyss. Also, they do 2 damage to you.
Why are they attacking you?
Because they don't recognize you as their lord. Sure, you have the King's Soul, but that's not their king. But man, I forget where it's referenced, but the Abyss is a pit of failures. This is a lot of fucking failures.
So these are all These were all vessels that failed in sealing away the infections. That must have been something they've been fighting for a very long time.
I don't think it's the fact that they failed the infection, it's the fact that they failed the process of being the true Hollow Knight. But yeah, I forget where you learned this, but in order to unlock the next part, you have to Psychic Knife yourself.
Oh, you're going into your own dream?
Yeah, because now we're gonna learn the truth. Are you ready for the origin episode of our buddy Hollow Knight?
Guess we'll find out.
I like this part because it details what exactly the king was trying to accomplish. So now that we know the truth, we have the Void Heart. Now, while the King's Soul was the soul of a king, the Void Heart is the true icon of those that would lead the Void. This badge does nothing. It takes up nothing. While we were once the perfect vessel, we are now unlimited emptiness. And because of that, the kin now respect us and won't damage us. And a thing to clarify, at one point, I believe it was the White Queen mentions that the Hollow Knight that was before us, he was tainted by an ideal. I think that ideal is what the king said to him. You are their knight. You will seal their dreams and save them from the darkness. So he was corrupted by the idea that he was a hero. And because of having that thought, he got corrupted by the infection.
So the king screwed himself at the start.
Yep. By saying he is their Hollow Knight, he turned a perfectly empty vessel into something with an ideal. And that's why that was destined for failure. And also,
so in the case of our boy, because he was rejected, he never grew such ambitions.
Yep, he was considered a defect, tossed aside, but survived enough to come back. And since he doesn't have an ideal, he doesn't have a will, he doesn't have a voice, all he knows is stop the infection. Which is why he's here now.
And obviously just from the sign from the actual Hollow Knight. The actual Hollow Knight rejected you.
Yeah.
He didn't help you. Which shows a sign of ambition. He didn't want anyone else to succeed other than him because he's the hero.
He saw what happened to the rejects. He didn't want that. Now, the interesting thing is, because of what we've established before, the original Hollow Knight is effectively your brother, and, like, probably the purest form of a brother, too, because you two look almost exactly alike.
So technically, the what they were getting wrong is that the king was trying to create the perfect vessel, but the very perfection created a sense of purpose. But because you're a defect, you lack purpose, which makes you the perfect vessel for the infection.
Yeah. And I also think that line that they mentioned before where they said, no will to break, I think that's their quote-unquote reason for putting in the White Palace. Because if you got to this point in the game, your will wasn't broken, so you as the player are the perfect Hollow Knight.
You're perfect because you're not perfect, which makes you perfect.
It's a weird thing.
Let's see what the caterpillars are up to.
I really should get around to that, shouldn't I?
They owe you a lot of money.
But yeah, now we're gonna start cleaning up. I really should start buying more from Sly, aka Swordmaster. Also, here's a weird little glitch. If you get a heart container, a new heart container while you have lifeblood, it technically overwrites it visually, but you still have the 4 blue pieces.
Oh. Well, that's odd.
Now for another really hard fight, in my opinion. I'd say this is actually harder than Fallen Champion. Because we've done this before. This is the crazy beam guy that just stomps around and shoots lasers. But round 2's on crack. I died.
I also thought about something while you're fighting him. You needed the king's soul to gain the empty soul, which makes you perfect. So does that mean one of the reasons why it never worked is that king was unwilling to give up his individuality?
Yes.
You had to force it out of him once he died.
Mm-hmm. The greed's undoing. The king's greed and desires was entirely his undoing. Also, I hate this guy. I can never predict where the fuck he goes.
It's kind of a dark thought that his greed into just being alive is what did it.
Mm-hmm.
Because to give one ambition is a reason to live, and to give a reason to live is what makes it not the proper vessel for this corrupting force I see.
Man, this story is a lot more impressive the more we talk about it. Maybe lore is actually good in some ways.
I've been telling you all this time. You finally find out that hating pizza will set you free. You finally understand. Or at least admitting that you hate pizza.
But I like pizza.
You're just like the king. You're unwilling to make the sacrifices needed.
On a side, this is something that I should have done a while back, but I've just kind of spaced out and forgot. This is like a last stretch of the Crystal Peaks that you can only access when you have double jump. And we learned what happened to the miners of the crystals. Crystals also suck. They infect you.
Well, crystals mining stuff insinuates greed.
Yeah. Basically, everything in this area is just the worst and led to the downfall of the society. Crystals were infecting workers, a biological infection was affecting society. The Abyss was not enough of a trump card to deal with all this bullshit.
It is kind of a negative viewpoint that the things that make humans humans are corrupting.
Yeah. What if we just, became a bug hive mind and didn't have to think at all?
It's like I'm thinking nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Damn it, Flanders.
Stupid sexy Hollow Knight.
Stupid hive mind Flanders. Also, that demonstrates there that after the new update, you can get soul drops randomly. It's just extremely rare. You're not gonna get the required souls from farming enemies in any sane amount of time. Just beat the fucking bosses. Welcome to the side area that you never need to go to, but looks neat.
Oh, is that all it is? It looks neat.
Oh, you also get an item here. Also, somebody mentions I had to psychic knife something here, so I'm kind of trying to figure out where. Yummy.
Yummy! Remember, beautiful Joe.
So yeah, for some reason, that podium is psychic knifeable.
Weird.
It's a little strange, yeah, but it's more leading to the ideal of the light is bad, we should probably run. Now the amusing bit here is if you go anywhere in this part of the screen, you will fall into a part of Crystal Peaks. It just depends on how far you go will determine what part you teleport to.
Huh. That's actually pretty nice.
I was kind of hoping it would take me to Hollowness, but eh. Also,
Nah, you got teleport and shit.
We also never did figure this out. She's gone.
Is that her side quest and she just goes crazy?
Yep. Which is really brutal because she's super nice. I'm trying
to get her.
I'm trying to. There we go. She's still singing even when she's mindless. I don't feel anything about that.
Not a thing.
Unfortunately, they don't give you a unique diary for her, which is a crime.
Well, it did mention the aspect of greed being the corrupting force.
Yeah. I was looking for that, like, did they give her one? Please don't tell me they gave her one. That'd be, like, a knife in the back. Because imagine if, in order to complete your journal, you have to kill this poor woman, and it forever guilts you by giving you a journal of her. But yeah, that was That was the worst level of the game. What'd you think, Travis?
That was interesting. That was that Super Meat Boy.
Yeah. Also, might as well get a roundtable going. Do you still have questions? Because I feel I could answer them now without going into spoiler territory.
I mean, I'm kind of on the fence about the infection unless I know more about it. I still don't know what created this infection, other than it seems to be a corrupting force of individuality.
Unfortunately, the details of the infection are only detailed once we get 2,400 souls, which means I have to beat every side boss and then talk to Grandma.
Well, 100%. So, I mean, we're gonna see it probably.
Yeah. But I do believe some of it is detailed when we actually do like the main plot, not the side plot for the true ending. But yeah, as for the infection though, we do know that it's sentient after poor Miner Girl's story, because before she goes crazy, the infection is straight up telling her, kill the Hollow Knight. So it is a sentient infection that has beef with the Abyss.
That's interesting. Because, I mean, it sounds like the infection itself, as you said, has that sentience of wanting to kill the Hollow Knight. It means that the infection is aware that the Hollow Knight is a danger. So maybe they wouldn't have been as dangerous if the Hollow Knights did not exist.
Which is also interesting because the Hollow Knight project was created as a means to save them from the infection. So really, we just got to figure out why the infection even started. And I feel like once you know how that happened, you're gonna hate the king even more.
Fuck you, worm. Creation or god who made bugs.
It's certainly an interesting thing of the creation story, because whenever we see things like this, the creator is infallible. There is no flaw. And even if there is a flaw, at worst it's something like Odin, where Odin is still a dick, but he's the creator. He does dick things by default because he has power. In this case, the so-called creator is super flawed. He has the power of a god, but he's no better than any other bug.
Well, I also get the insinuation that the Abyss and the infection are kind of the opposite sides of the spectrum of like darkness and light, because they've been talking a lot about light, and that the infection and light itself is the most pure form of the individual, while the darkness is the most pure form of the whole, the just nothingness and everything being the same. So the world, it also brings a good end point that the world pretty much is predominantly gray, which is the shades between light and darkness.
Yeah, but I do have to correct you on one thing. It's mentioned somewhere in the story. I gotta remember where, because this is a lot of stuff to sift through. But at one point, I think either Quirrell, Hornet, or Grandbomb mentions that succumbing to that awful infection means losing your individuality and becoming a primal beast. No mind, no intelligent thought, just a beast of raw primal desire.
So isn't darkness doing the same thing, though? Because to even get anywhere close to thinking on your own is what invites the corruption in.
Right now, based on what we know, the only difference between the hive mind of the light and the all-encroaching darkness is that the darkness is benign. It has been exploited. It has been treated as a resource. It has no mind of its own. It has no desire. It just is. It doesn't do anything. Whatever, like, the Abyss was perfectly fine with being exploited and just sitting in its goo. Meanwhile, the infection was like, I'm going to infect everything. I want everything to be a hive mind of primal desire. And there is a reason for that. We just don't know it yet. Which is part of the fun of playing this game, is wondering what the fuck did he do wrong.
The king particularly, or the individual or did the king make the infection?
We'll see in later episodes.
I would assume it was the king.
It's a good assumption to make.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, the infection is a byproduct of his desires. We know this. The question is how, and why in God's name is a hive mind infection sentient and vengeful? And, shit, I gotta record those episodes, don't I?
Yeah, that would probably be good. Unless you want to go another few months before recording.
No. I gotta put this puppy to bed.
This bug puppy.
But yeah, if I'm remembering this right, next episode of Hollow Knight, we are going to take on the Watchers.
When given to your primal desires, admit you hate pizza.
No, damn it, I love pizza.
The more you fight it, the stronger it gets.
I hate lore. See you guys next time.